Justin, I'd love to ask how you are, but we have just over 50 minutes and 10 eras to cover, so let's make like Taylor on the Eras tour and speak never. More on that later. No, but let's introduce our guest.
Can I say hi at least? Hi. Nice to see you, Nick.
Hey, how are you? We met in campus ministry my sophomore year and her senior as office assistants. It's very interesting because we never hung out at school, but have maintained a pretty strong friendship as people in their 20s who each stan a female icon in pop. She's as big of a fan of Taylor Swift as I am Lady Gaga. She's a medical speech language pathologist from Long Island, New York, and she recently got engaged to a fellow Loyola Greyhound. Please welcome Kathleen DeGennaro.
Hi, Kathleen.
Hi.
Yay.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited that I got through almost all of that without stumbling. That was great.
And we're with a minute to spare too, because you have 2 minutes listed on your blueprint here. So I mean, should we fill this next minute or so, or
no? Let's just keep going. First of all, Kathleen, how are you?
I'm great. It's been a very long weekend for me with the tour going on this weekend, so I am still recovering from sleep.
I love how you say that as if you were at the show. Like, it was a long weekend.
Oh, I know.
You did not go to the show. I was also not at the show.
Mm-mm.
But
so you're not a groupie?
Honestly, if I had the money, I would, but I mean, I think that topic is even beyond attainable given the situation that happened with her with this tour. Even if I had the money in the world, it probably wouldn't be enough.
That's fair. That's completely fair.
We're definitely going to talk about that too. I feel the same way with Lady Gaga. Like, I've told you about this. I camped out for the Chromatica ball, like overnight, unplanned. And everybody else there, everyone was super, super nice. But everyone was like, oh yeah, like when we were at like the London show. And I'm like, when we were at the London show, like, what do you mean? Like, they had just been to all of the shows and they're like, I've got like, this is my last one, or I've got 3 more. And it's like, this was like, I dropped a bag on this. Like, this is my one show. But yeah, no, I feel that. So Justin, do you want to do the honors? We ask every guest the same question to start.
I'm curious if you prepped her for this, but
I didn't.
So we ask all of our guests the same question, standardized question. It stems from in a high school interview that my brother did. Anyway, we won't get into the backstory because I know Nick is we're on a strict time schedule here. So the question we ask is, if you were any fruit, what fruit would you be and why? And just judging by your face, this is clearly the first time you're hearing that.
It is the first time. Oh boy. Huh, that's a good question. The first thing that's coming to my mind is peach, but I don't think that's like who I am.
Okay.
That's really tricky.
Talk it out.
I feel like I would need to think about this. I'm thinking of like my favorite fruits. Like I really like strawberries.
That's what a lot of
Strawberries have
people
like
do.
always been my favorite. Yeah, but I also know that these questions are not like what's your favorite of this category. It's like what do you think you are?
It's not necessarily true though, because we've had some people say, "Oh, I'm a strawberry because it's my favorite fruit," and we've had some people say, "Oh, I'm a lime, I'm a lemon, I'm a grape because of this, that, and the other." Like a more profound answer. So it runs the gamut.
Justin, do you want to give ours? Because we haven't shared those in a while.
That's
We can kind of like because we don't know, like, if new listeners don't know. You can give yours first.
Okay. Like, mine is not really a profound answer. Like, I said pineapple because I like the summer, and pineapples are unique looking, and I thought I was unique looking. I'm still sticking with that. That's what I said the first time we brought this up, and I'm still sticking with that. And I like the taste of pineapples, and yeah. Nick's gone through 3 fruits.
See, so you don't need to have a good or a decisive answer.
I feel better already.
I'm kidding. Mine right now that I've been going with for the last 3 calendar years, I'd say, is a cherry, because first of all, I like artificial cherry flavors. And also I am not perfect, so cherries have pits, and also cherries usually come in like 2, so I'm like looking for my other person, kind of cute, kind of gross.
Kind of gross.
Yeah. I was going to say something else, but it was not appropriate, so I'm going to refrain.
Okay. I feel like the more I think about it, and actually I feel like your answer is both kind of like you're very yours seems very like deep to me, Nick, and yours is more like just off the cuff, Justin. So, okay, so I'm gonna stick with strawberry. And one, yes, it's probably my favorite fruit. And then what I would say is that I feel like strawberries are pretty much sweet, but they still have like those little, I don't know why this is what I'm thinking of, but they still have like those little tiny itty bitty seeds on the side that you don't notice. But every once in a while you get a strawberry that has like too many of them and you're like, oh wow, I really noticed like these little itty, like they're not bad, but they're like prickly parts that like, oh wow, I didn't know that like strawberries were this like, I don't know if this is making sense, but I feel like
it is.
As I'm thinking about this, I'm like, okay, that's kind of like me. Like I feel like I'm for the most part like a very nice, like sweet, fun person, but like if people get me going like in the wrong way, for example, insulting my girl here, Taylor,
yes,
then you'll notice the tiny little seeds more and more. So I'm gonna stick with that.
I feel you, because I've had to hold myself back when people are saying things about Lady Gaga. I'm like, remember, you're 25, you're 25, you're 25.
Yeah, I have that exact same experience.
But I like your answer. That's a good one. Have we we've had a strawberry before, right? Or have we not?
We have.
Justin.
We have.
I think we've had one.
I think Lauren is a strawberry, right?
Oh my gosh, sorry, Lauren. Yeah. But anyways,
Lauren was a watermelon. I'm so sorry. But anyway,
I don't know who the strawberry was. But
I feel like we've had strawberry.
We probably have. You are the Taylor expert, not me. So do you want to talk a little bit about how the ERAS tour came about? Both in terms of the re-recordings, what happened with Scooter Braun, and also just the pandemic.
Yes. Okay. So I'm going to try my best to keep this as concise yet comprehensive as possible. And that goes for all of my responses. Okay. So I would say across the Swifties, which is if you don't know, which I think most people probably do by now, Swifties are just like the fandom term for Taylor Swift fans. So basically, Taylor was supposed to go on tour in 2020 with her album Lover, which came out in 2019. It was Lover Fest. We actually never really got a lot of details on it. I had tickets to it. They were good seats. They got canceled. So that was an album that never got toured. Taylor has gone on tours for all of her other albums, with the exception of her debut album, which is pretty typical of most artists. So then, no one really knew, as with everything else that's way more important, what was going to go on with the pandemic. Then in 2020, she drops Folklore in the summer, in July, and then a few months later drops Evermore. And so throughout this whole time, people are having conversations of, okay, like maybe she'll reschedule Lover Fest. Then it's, okay, maybe it'll be Folk Lover Fest. And then it'll be Folk Lovermore. And then eventually when Midnights came out, it was Folk Lovermore Nights. And people just kind of expanded what her tour would be, because we were like, there's no way she wouldn't tour these albums, but what is she going to do here? I don't think anyone really expected her to come out and say ERAS tour. This is a very long thing, but basically, if you don't already know, Taylor is re-recording her first 6 albums. So basically all the albums she put out before Lover, that were originally released with her main first record label, Big Machine Records, that she basically started from the ground up with the owner of it, Scott Borchetta. It became a very big, successful company because of her. Scott was like a father figure to her. She wanted, after Reputation, wanted to buy her masters out. Long story short, Scott said no. Then Taylor moved on, didn't say anything bad about Big Machine, signed with Universal, found out on social media along with everyone else that all of her music was sold to Scooter Braun, who is Kanye West's manager, Justin Bieber's manager, among many other
people.
Artists.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, and people that have notoriously had drama, to say the least, with Taylor Swift. Taylor stated at the time that she was never, so everyone on her team knew that anything that had involved Scooter Braun was not to be brought to her, that they just were not on good terms. And so when she found this out, it was a major stab in the back. So the re-recording started to reclaim her music. So now, in terms of the ERAS tour, I think, like I was mentioning before, as these new albums, Lover, Folklore, Evermore, Midnights, came out, it got to be a lot of albums. Now she's re-recording all those other albums. I think this idea of an ERAS tour is something that we as Swifties would never have expected, but like many things Taylor does, we can't see it coming, but now that she's done it, we're like, oh my God, this makes the most sense. I think that's the best way to summarize it.
And that was perfect. That brought us right up to speed, timeline-wise,
oh, good.
too.
Thank God.
That was great.
Was
yeah, no, that was perfect and also eloquent. Justin, you wanted to talk. Let's go to Justin's news center for a second. This is old news, but the Ticketmaster scandal. I'll let you guys talk about that, because honestly, I just know that Ticketmaster sells me my tickets. That's about it.
Yeah, so Ticketmaster has been kind of it's one of those in the business kind of world. Ticketmaster and Live Nation merged, I think back in like 2008 or 2010, I don't know, some time ago. And that was something that people were a little bit concerned about, because Live Nation, if you don't know, owns and operates a lot of the venues that people who see live shows go to. I'm pretty sure here in Boston, they own and operate Gillette Stadium, TD Garden, but they don't operate Fenway Park. So, but
wow.
Those are two of the big, and then Xfinity Center is a smaller one. So those are 3 out of the 4 big stadiums just in the Boston area. So the issue that happened with Taylor Swift is that they, and Kathleen, you can kind of correct me here, there was a pre-sale, it was like a VIP access, you would apply for it, and then if you got it, you got a code sent to you. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. So what happened was, for the pre-sale, if you got a code, you essentially, not guaranteed, but you felt like you were in a pretty great position because you got a code to access the pre-sale, and this was like on a Wednesday or a Thursday or maybe even earlier in the week, and then the tickets would go on sale for the ERAS tour to the general public on Friday. What happened was Ticketmaster gave out essentially too many codes. And so there were Swifties in line for hours. And I'm sure if you just like on TikTok, there were memes. It was just this huge headline like on all the news channels. And so there were people waiting in line in the virtual queue forever. Some people got away with tickets but paid like thousands of dollars for them. Other people didn't even get tickets. And then after the whole debacle, Ticketmaster said, we sold out all of our tickets in the pre-sale. They're not going on sale to the general public. And so because of this merger, artists and even like sporting events, they can't even really go to other vendors. So essentially Ticketmaster has a monopoly on the ticketing industry. And so this became a whole thing. Nick, I don't know if you have anything, or Kathleen, you want to share about your experience. I assume you were in the queue, Kathleen. Did you get a code and everything?
Yeah. So basically I've bought tickets with my Ticketmaster account for Taylor Swift shows for years now, right? And as someone who has gone to previous shows, and this is I think a key thing that not tons of people know, because I had tickets for Loverfest, which was the concert that was canceled in 2020, it was marketed that, I had to do the whole registration process for the code and everything, but it was marketed that people who had Loverfest tickets would be first priority for getting tickets. Now, there were only 4 Loverfest shows total. There was 2 in Boston, there was 2 in LA. That was it. It wasn't going to be a whole big, and there's going to be some international shows, but there wasn't going to be a whole US tour associated with it. So I was like, okay, I've got this in the bag. 4 stadiums max were filled. She's going to 52 shows, like it'll be fine. And basically, because I work in person, I had my friend that I'm going to the show with. She works from home, so she logged on. She was in the queue for 5 hours total. It was so stressful. I was so physically and mentally and emotionally exhausted that day, because I'm on Twitter seeing people that I follow that are big fans not getting tickets. My aunt, who her daughters wanted to go, they're kind of casual fans. their friend's dad, who never went to a Taylor Swift show or anything, signed up, got a code, and got like the first tickets like available. And it was
Wow.
like, wait a minute, because it basically quickly became obvious to the community, I guess, that it seemed that people that signed up for tickets and had never been to shows, did not have previous, Loverfest tickets, all these other things, were actually at the back of the line, and the people that never had a show before were really in the front, just based on how it seemed to be going. So we got very actually bad tickets that day. There was a Capital One pre-sale the next day, and I went through that whole queue within an hour because I had a Capital One card that I opened because I knew this was going to happen because she has a partnership.
That's true. That's true loyalty right there.
I just knew it. So, and I within an hour got like much better seats. So those are the ones that we're going to be using. So
And just
it
to
was
put
just
numbers too. So on Thursday, the company Ticketmaster said that 3.5 million people registered for that code thing. They gave out 1.5 million codes. And then on Tuesday, when that first pre-sale started, the Ticketmaster received 3.5 billion requests for tickets, and only 2 million tickets were sold. And I'm pretty sure on Tuesday alone.
yeah. I know that. So there were tickets. I think after I don't remember which days were what, but the verified fan pre-sale code. I'm putting quotes here. That's what it's called. That was the first day. Capital One was the next day,
Was
and
Wednesday.
after
Okay.
Capital
Okay.
One, they said there's going to be no general on sale, and now everyone is even more furious.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So if you are even going to this tour, you're a warrior. It's a cultural
basically.
warrior.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
the fandom at this point has been through some things, but
And she
Taylor's-
acknowledged that at the first show.
Did
too.
she did, and she's
Yes,
making it
she
worth
did.
it. She's making it worth it
Yeah, oh,
because
absolutely.
she sings a whopping 44 songs in 3 hours and 15 minutes. Both numbers are unheard of. Most concerts, the average concert is anywhere between 90 minutes and 2 hours of the main artist performing. She's blowing past that, and she goes era by era. I was wondering how she was going to do that. Is it just going to be a greatest hits show, which it is definitely more than that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it should be acknowledged that I think together both of you saw as Nick described it, the potato quality live stream of the first stream show. So
Yes, we did.
you've watched the show at least through a live stream, and so when we get into this conversation, I haven't. It's probably going to be very apparent as we go along in this conversation, but that's the background here. Nick and Kathleen have both watched the show in its entirety via potato live stream.
Yes, from 11:30 p.m. to 2:45 a.m. because it was the Arizona show, which was the first show, was 3 hours behind us.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, and Justin, we will incorporate you into this conversation
I appreciate
via
that.
well, yes, but okay, so she opens, these are where the spoilers start. This is where the spoilers start. She opens with the Lover album, and Kathleen, were you expecting her to open with the song she did? She opened with Miss Americana and the Heartbreak Prince. It was a small snippet of it.
I was absolutely not expecting that. I don't think anyone was expecting her to open with that song, let alone Lover itself. Everyone was pretty sure she was going to open with Lavender Haze, which is a recent single from Midnight's, which is her most recent album. It just felt like it would be the option, that would make the most sense.
Right, and honestly, I was shocked, but it makes the most, given that Lover was I don't know, it just makes sense. It was the name, Miss Americana was also the name of her Netflix documentary. Justin, you recently, did you say you saw that, or did you watch have you seen that?
On Netflix?
Yes.
I think I walked into my living room at one point last year when my sister and mom were watching it.
That's what I thought. So it makes sense. And the first line she sings, she didn't sing the whole song. She sings the line right before the chorus, which is "It's been a long time coming." So that was perfect. And then transitions into, would you call Cruel Summer the fan favorite off of Lover?
Oh, 100%. It's my favorite song on the album, and if not my favorite song ever, easily in my top 5 or top 3.
Okay, I'm just going to be controversial here.
I knew you were because I do know what you're.
Yeah, she did not sing the best song from the album. No, I'm kidding. It's not the best song. It's my favorite song from the album. The lead single, Me. Like, Justin, as somebody who didn't see the show, would you expect her to sing that?
Yes.
Exactly.
Because that's one of the few songs I know from the album. I know that, and I know You Need to Calm Down.
She sang that. And she sang The Man, and she sang Lover. Those are probably the songs you'd know.
I think I might also know Afterglow.
She did not sing that.
Oh,
but that's a deep cut.
Pick. Yeah, she sang The Archer
yep.
as well, and I don't know if you said Lover, the song.
I did, yes. But yeah, she did not sing Me, and I'm still hurt about it because she could have opened with that. But
is there like insider knowledge that she just doesn't like that song?
I think everyone else doesn't like that song.
So even like, so when the song came out, I will even say it's a pretty juvenile song. It's actually kind of sad because in the Miss Americana documentary, she kind of actually, there's a lot of clips of her recording and how excited she was for that song. And I understand it in the context of it coming off of Reputation, which we'll get into later, but it is a song to this day that the fans collectively do not like and kind of make fun of quite often because it's just an unfortunate example of Taylor does not pick the best singles, and there are so many amazing songs on this album, and Me just simply isn't one of them. So sorry, Nick. I can get into it here and there, but a lot of people were hoping she wouldn't, I hate to say this, but like quote unquote waste a spot on the tour with Me because no one really wanted to hear it.
I love this. I love this insider knowledge here.
Let me just say right now, she could have replaced Shake It Off with Me and I would have been happier. I'm not kidding, because Shake It Off is equally as juvenile. Come on.
No, but Shake It Off had a better critical response, and
it
like,
did. Of
it's
course,
more catchy, and it you know, it has lived this long.
I feel like there was a social media like following with that song too. Like I don't even know if TikTok was around then, but I feel like the music video and people were doing dances to that song.
Absolutely.
It's one of the songs that I don't like by her, but I am a Lover stan.
It's so surprising since you love Me.
I know, it is really funny, but I am a Lover stan. It was my favorite era of the tour. Did you have a favorite era of the tour? Not like the album, but like.
No, I understand. That's a great question, and one that I have been thinking about. I think I still need to see, obviously, like a lot more of the show and actually see it in person too. But off the bat, my first impressions were that my favorites were actually Evermore and Reputation. And then Lover. I would say those were like in the top in terms of my favorites.
I usually just always like the first act of a show the best because it's the most exciting. Like you see the person for the first time, and I swear to God, they glow.
She looked beautiful.
Yeah,
and it was
she did.
Amazing. But and Lover is like my heart album. Like it just has a very special place in my heart for me. So it's very underappreciated as an album by fans and by like the general population, the locals as we call them.
I agree. But transitioning into Act 2, she goes from Lover to Fearless, which I was kind of surprised. That album was her first album of the year, and she did 3 songs from it total. And it went like very quick. It was like 1, 2, 3, and then we're on to Act 3. But she sang Fearless. Justin, you'll know the next 2. She did Fearless, then You Belong With Me, then Love Story. Were you surprised that she didn't do more from that album, especially since it was the first Taylor's version?
So I was at first, yes, especially because it was the first Taylor's version, which is the term for the albums that have been re-recorded and released, which only Fearless and Red have been released so far with Taylor's versions. She still has to release her debut album, Taylor Swift it's called, Speak Now, Reputation, and 1989 Taylor's versions, but those aren't out yet. I was surprised there wasn't at least one vault song, which Vault song is Taylor's version terms for a previously unreleased song that Taylor had originally written during that era. Did not put on the album, and now that she's re-recording her album, making the albums as long as she wants to, she's adding these songs that were previously unreleased. So I was surprised that she didn't add at least one of those, and I was surprised there was only 3 songs. I'm not surprised by Love Story or You Belong With Me,
me neither.
And I'm really happy she put Fearless. But I appreciate that there's 3 from Fearless given what happens later on in the tour. So I have to count my blessings.
And we are absolutely going to get there. All right, so very quick, rapid fire. Best song on Fearless Taylor's version, just out of all, it looks like 26 songs. We'll start with Kathleen.
Okay. Um, man, it's so hard for me to pick one. It honestly is. I'm not even trying to be like that, but my favorite is Tell Me Why.
Okay. Mine is, I'm going to just have all the trash opinions today. Today Was a Fairy Tale.
Are you kidding me?
I'm serious.
Oh
Justin.
my gosh.
I mean, I'm a local, so you. I think You Belong with Me, and just because of its popularity, and I have a distinct memory of in 5th grade, I had like a reading teacher teach our class, like she was teaching our class poetry, and we were like, pick a song, and and we were all like, You Belong with Me, and so she wrote the lyrics like on a chalkboard, and we learned about poetry through that song. So I'm gonna choose that one.
That's fun and
I
fresh.
love that song too.
The next era, we were actually surprised. You and I had both said this. She did a bunch from Evermore. Was it 5 songs or 6?
She did 5 from
5?
Evermore.
Okay. See, this is why we have you on, because I'm not the stan. At one point of the show, you were like, I feel like you're a Swiftie. And I was like, I can't call myself that because I have such respect for like the level of standing that you and I do for our individual artists that I can't, like, I'm a Taylor Swift fan for sure.
Right.
But yeah, I take the titles very seriously. Anyways, Evermore, can you explain what? So Taylor said this during the show. There's a meme that has circulated the internet that Taylor Swift hates this album. Do you want to just explain this and how she beat the allegations?
Yeah, yeah. This is so funny. So, okay, so Evermore is the album that Taylor released about, 5 months after Folklore, and she called it Folklore's sister album. She did not do nearly as much, I don't know if you want to call it promotion, because it was another surprise drop, like Folklore and Evermore, she did not pre-announce. She just one day posted on Instagram, new album tonight, and everyone was like, losing their minds. So Evermore was like the little sister, right? That's what people called it. Taylor obviously loved Folklore so much. It went on to win Album of the Year. And just over the last like few years, this meme or joke has been going around on the internet, like with Swifties, that Taylor hates Evermore. It's a lot of different like little things. Like one was that it first started because she wished Folklore a happy birthday and wrote this whole big post on Instagram for Folklore. And so then when Evermore came out, and she released like a remix of one of the songs like on Folklore's first birthday. And then Evermore came around and she didn't post for it, and neither did Taylor Nation, which is basically Taylor's marketing team that has like a separate account. It's like an official organization for Taylor. They promote like her merch and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so basically it's just, like I said, all these little things that kind of happen where Evermore has been kind of like left out of things, and everyone loves the album obviously. So but when Taylor was introducing one of the songs from Evermore, Champagne Problems, she was doing a little speech, and she mentioned that she said something along the lines of, we're right in the middle of our Evermore era, and everyone cheering, whatever. She's like, which is an album that I love very, very, very much, despite what some of you say on TikTok, and everyone's laughing and cheering. And then she was like, I see it all. And Taylor notoriously stalks silently her fans on social media. She won't interact with any posts, but she's basically always watching. So people call it Taylurking. It started, she coined that term herself on Tumblr years ago, but now people say like hashtag Taylurking. So she's got a great name for puns.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the story with Evermore. So it was really funny to hear her acknowledge that. And she actually did that at the second tour the second show on Saturday too. So I think it's going to be something that she mentions every single time.
I think
so
it
everyone
will.
said the allegations.
And she also, so she did 8 songs from Folklore, 7 plus the surprise song, which we'll get to. But I was expecting, I had her down for one Folklore song, one Evermore song, or maybe like a medley. Like I was not expecting that.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I would say the majority of people also thought.
Yeah. And Folklore came later in the show, but I lumped it together with Evermore, given that they are sister albums. But the funny thing about that was she went right from Evermore, which is like this cottagecore, like, sweet, very tame album. Not as tame as Folklore in terms of themes, I mean. It's kind of like a little bit edgier. To Reputation, in which she quite literally like pseudo raps at the beginning of Ready for It. Like, it's kind of funny. It's one of my favorite albums by Taylor. It's actually the album that you and I, that was coming out like right when we met. I will never forget. You were like getting super excited about it. We were on the intern retreat, which Justin, you know about. And I was like, oh, like she's the level of fan that I am just for Taylor Swift. You said it was one of your favorite parts of the show. What was your favorite? Like, what are your thoughts on it?
So, yeah, the Reputation, I just feel like is obviously it's such a different album for anything Taylor has done in the past. I mean, the Reputation Stadium tour, which was the most recent tour she went on before this, was like, it was so epic and just so out of Taylor's comfort zone, but she played it so well. Everything that I loved about this part of the set was one, like how, so it transitioned out of Evermore. Now people kind of know, right, that like, okay, she's going era by era, but she's not going in order, so people don't know what's next. And like the visual on the stage was just a close up of like very clearly like a snake slithering like through, and then it was like it would kind of black out then come back, and people were just getting so hyped. Like it was really building, like everyone was so excited. Her outfit was amazing. It was this like jumpsuit that was like one sleeve and one leg and then bare the other side, and it was very, if you look back at her old outfits for the Reputation Stadium tour, it's very reminiscent of two of the outfits, or two of the costumes, I guess, from that show, which I thought was cool. It had snakes all around her. Her microphone had a snake on it. She sang Ready for It, Delicate, which there's a whole fan thing with that too, where people...
I don't like either of those songs.
I know. It's one of those songs... I love both of them, actually. I love all the songs that she had. I even love Look What You Made Me Do. But there's like a very big like concert fan thing with Delicate where people scream like 1, 2, 3, let's go, bitch. It started with the last tour. It's really funny, but Taylor gets into it now too, where she kind of like counts people in like with her fingers. And then she sang Don't Blame Me and had a really cool transition into Look What You Made Me Do. Did you see that, Nick, on the tour?
Yes.
You saw that? You remember that?
Yes. And in fact, I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if you can see it, but in my notes, it literally says transition from fan favorite, Don't Blame Me, to Look What You Made Me Do. That was so epic. And I love Look What You Made Me Do. I always have. Again, me with the bad opinions. But
no, I agree with you. I really like that one too.
And you said it was the highlight of the show so far, or I suggested it. I think I led with it. And we were like, this is the highlight of the show so far. Do you stand by that?
You know, this is like that. Now that I've seen the whole thing, I feel like asking me that is like what I say when people ask me like, what's your favorite album or what's your favorite song? Like, I just can't pick. I would say revisit this with me in like a month or two, and I'll probably be able to like narrow it down a little more. But okay. I would still say that's part of why this was like my favorite set right now. And during Look What You Made Me Do, she had her dancers all dressed up in different old costumes of hers to represent like
artists
Taylor's, and the choreography and everything. It was just like, it was super cool and like super epic and unique. I think for a lot of people, at least from what I've seen online so far, it's been everyone's favorite, or one of everyone's favorites.
Okay, so Act 4, we'll transition, and we're gonna talk. It was Speak Now. I'm kidding, but she only sang Enchanted. That's one song. After doing like 5, like I mean, I guess Fearless she did 3, but she does one song, and I think you and I were both waiting for like, okay, it's gonna be a fast song. She did Enchanted. She's gonna do Long Live maybe, which is not fast, but like nothing. Yeah. She disappears, and then there was this little like box, and a dancer opens it, and it starts playing like music from Red, and we were like, what? That was it?
That was so disappointing. I mean, if there's any song for her to do from Speak Now, I think everyone for the most part would agree that Enchanted is the pick.
Really? Not Long Live?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
For an
Yeah,
ERAS
people
tour,
were-
like, I feel like,
No, that's a whole different topic. I mean, I would have hoped she would have done at least more than one song,
right.
and I had so many songs
And
on
if
the
you
album, guys.
hated that, you're not going to believe what she did to her first album. But we'll get there. I will just say about
This
Speak Now.
suspense is killing me.
I will say with Speak Now before we move on is that some people speculate that she'll add more once her version.
Yes.
Speak Now, Taylor's version, is the next re-recording to be released, as confirmed by the anti-hero, music video. Some people,
as of the Bejeweled music video.
I'm so sorry. This is why you're here.
I'm sorry to call you.
Thank you for correcting me, because I would have done it too if the roles were reversed and we were talking about Lady Gaga. So I totally get it.
Oh, I would hope you would.
Yeah, and I totally get it. So some people think that she's trying to not keep the streams down, but save those streams for when the new album comes out. And typically when an artist sings songs from an old piece of work that they haven't sang in a while, the streams go up. So that has been speculated. But let's move on to Red, because we already, prefaced that she did Red next. She did a 4-song segment ending with the 10-minute version of All Too Well, which, like, how? Like, we know how. She did 3 hours and 14 minutes, or 15 minutes. But this is my trivia question for Justin. Justin, do you know who that song is about, or supposedly about? But it's like,
Yeah, wait, isn't it Jake Gyllenhaal? Yay!
Wait, can you confirm that for us? I don't want to be wrong again.
No, you're
About
correct.
Bejeweled.
It's pretty
Thank
much
you.
confirmed without being totally confirmed that it's about him.
Yes.
I mean, he got all the backlash when Red Taylor's version came
Oh,
out, so I
God,
hope
did he
it's
ever.
about him. Because
Yeah,
otherwise
right.
he got that all in vain.
And
No,
and
it's pretty
yeah,
clear.
and to John Mayer, I would say your time is coming.
Yeah.
But I just want to quickly let's pull up Red Taylor's version and just favorite song, kind of like we did with Fearless, and by kind of I mean exactly.
Red
I'll
is my
start-
favorite album by her, I just want to say.
I
It's
love
her
that.
favorite too. She
Oh,
loves
cool.
Red.
Well, like, I mean, I always thought
She
we
would
had a
never
lot
say
in
that,
common.
but she loves Red.
I'll start. Mine's A Message from Taylor. I'm kidding. That's the little like voice audio at the end. I'm joking. I'm joking. But I can start if you want, because I think I went last time. I'm just gonna go with my favorite one. I know this is basic, but I Knew You Were Trouble is one of the best pop bangers ever.
Ah! Sorry. That's
Yeah,
funny.
with the goat.
With the goat, yeah.
I was gonna say, are you okay, dear?
Like, I
Come
would've
on,
thought
at
you
least
would've
Kathleen
said-
understood what I was doing.
Yeah. Would have thought you said stay, Nick. If we're
That I
going
know.
on the
Well,
right-
yeah. If we're going on, yeah, I do really like Ronin. That's a beautiful song that I actually cried to while on Zoloft.
Oh wow. I only listened to
Which
that-
is- It's so no, but like that's hard to do. Like antidepressant that Anyways, are your nails ERAS? themed?
Yeah. They
Love.
are.
Love.
Yeah.
Taylor did that too. But I'll let. Okay, I guess Justin, you can go next because if we're reversing the order.
So many, but to try, this is still a basic answer, but Message in a Bottle was a
Ooh.
vault song that I really liked.
The
So I'll
pop
go with that.
version. Hello,
That's a good pick.
Kathleen. What's yours?
I'm gonna give two answers. I'm gonna give a vault because there were 10 vault
Okay.
songs. And there's 30 songs
Okay.
in this album. Well, okay, so let me preface by saying when we Swifties, when we rank songs in general, not even just Red, a lot of people don't even consider All Too Well 10-minute version because it's really just in a league of its own. It's everyone's favorite. So I'm not gonna include that in this ranking. My favorite vault song is Better Man, and my favorite song on Red, there's so many, but the one I'm gonna pick is State of Grace because that song I didn't like at all. And then when she re-recorded it, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I never listened to this song before. And now it's like one of my favorites ever.
I love that. Moving on to the next album, because she did Folklore after this, but we already talked about that. The next album she performed, 1989, which is, I will just say, for arguably her most acclaimed album to date, that felt rushed to me.
Yeah, I kind of agree, and I'm curious to see if that opinion will change as more shows go on and when I see it in person. Because I'm also wondering if I felt that way because, now we had gone through, was it eight? Five, no, seven.
Right.
We went through seven eras already. So this is
Right.
probably the point of the tour where now we're getting to, the 2 hours and 15-minute mark. So I don't know if
True.
I was just like hitting a low and also like I love this album. It's probably a no skip album for me. Can listen to so many of these songs on repeat at all times. But in terms of songs she sings live, Style Blank Space and Shake It Off have been very overplayed, I'll say that. They're great
I feel.
songs. I love Style especially, but I think I'm just again, given like where it was in the set list and where,
Mm.
I was expecting all these songs to be played, I wasn't like wowed. And I also don't really remember anything super, super memorable right now in terms of the production. I don't know if Nick, you remember
Same.
anything?
That's what I
Yeah,
mean. Like it was just like neon
yeah,
lights, but like the outfit was
right.
very, very reminiscent of the Shake It Off outfit from the 1989 tour. I saw it up close,
Definitely.
and there were subtle differences, but like just
Yeah.
I don't know. It just felt very rushed to me. But I agree with
Were
everything
those
that
the
you said.
three songs that you mentioned, Kathleen? Were those the three that she performed from it?
She played those three and she played Wildest Dreams and Bad Blood, which were all those
Okay.
songs were singles. So it
Okay.
was
Yeah,
kind
Right.
yeah,
of
yeah.
But even for
yeah.
that, like she did a lot of songs. Like that was one of the albums that she did more songs from, and it still felt like very quick. I don't know, maybe too,
Yeah,
just
that's
because we
actually
came off
very true.
Folklore, like
Yeah.
which is a slower album.
Yeah, and that's
Um,
interesting. Actually, now that you say that, I'm looking back, and that is the only, but aside from the four albums that were, had never been toured, so Lover, Folklore, Evermore, Midnights, 1989 had the most songs played from it compared to the rest of the earlier six albums. So that's interesting.
yeah, yeah. Um, we have to, just because it's 1989, like we have to pick our favorite songs from the
Oh, of
deluxe
course.
version.
Okay, again, I'm gonna give two, just
Okay.
because I can't do this anymore. So my favorite deluxe song is New Romantics. That is
Hmm.
a fan favorite from that album, underrated in my
And
opinion.
a single.
And yes, and a single. It was the last single actually, but
And one of the only times that she's like low key flopped with a single, like ever.
I was gonna say
Ever.
because
It
I
got
don't
I
like
even remember
number,
it.
know.
it got like,
Yeah.
what did it like charted in the 40s or something?
Yeah, it for a single it didn't, and again, as great of a song as it is, especially like the way she performed on the tour, it was phenomenal.
Yes.
I personally think it didn't perform as well because at that point it was like the seventh single released and it was
Yes.
released like after the tour. So now it's been close to a year since 1989 was put out and it was a very popular album. So I honestly think people just like couldn't keep up with the album anymore. Like we're kind of tired of it, which is
Yeah, I
unfortunate,
agree.
but I think that's probably just the reality of it.
That happened to Marry the Night and Born This Way. Marry the Night, what, or on
Mm,
Born This Way, not with Born This Way. That was a very big song. It was the
yes.
last single until 2022 when TikTok revived Bloody Mary. But
Oh, yeah.
Marry the Night, yeah, Marry the Night, kind of one of the best songs, agreed by many fans, one of the best songs on the album. It didn't chart so well as at the time the last single. It got like in the 20s, but it was, comparatively. It was her first song to not chart in the top 10. But we're not talking about Lady Gaga.
Okay, so yeah, so New Romantics is the one from the deluxe version, and then even though I do feel it is overplayed, I truly love Styles. That would be my other favorite from that album.
That is a great song. I love Style too. It's one of my favorites. Justin.
First off, I can't believe it's that 1989 was released in 2014.
Yeah, that's
That's almost
wild.
a decade ago, which is ridiculous.
That's hate.
Lightning.
Uh,
Do you think, Kathleen, do you think that she's going to release that on the 10-year anniversary at this point?
Honestly, I cannot predict her anymore. I'm so tired of trying to predict her. It's every day something new, and it's never what we think. Swifties are always clowning, as they call it.
I
Just
love the memes. It's
I
nice to be a clown.
I'm yeah, there's so many memes about it. It's just, it's never gonna happen. I don't know. Ish.
but my favorite song off of that is again basic, but Blank Space. I just feel like that's
Mm,
quintessential Taylor Swift. But again, my version of Taylor Swift is not definitely not your version of Taylor Swift. But that's from her singles. I feel like mostly that's just that song feels her. Anyway, Nick, what's yours?
Mine is and you can tell me if this is the least favorite, probably is, I Wish You Would. I think that is such a beautiful song, and it's a dancey one. It's both, which you don't always get.
I appreciate that pick. Wow.
Okay.
Wouldn't have expected that.
Good. Least favorite song would be Shake It Off, because I just never liked
You had
that
to
song.
throw it
I
in
don't know
there.
why. I had to. She should have put me on both albums. No, I'm kidding.
Oh my goodness.
I'm kidding. I want to talk about the surprise song because each night she performs one or potentially two, we're not sure because she's only done 2 shows, songs that aren't typically on the set list. And she said she's not going to repeat them. So she sang on the first night, one of them was Tim McGraw, which is the only song she did from her debut album. But then on the second date, she didn't sing a single debut song. How are you going to have an ERAS tour and just completely skip one of the albums? So at least Speak Now got something. But so anyways, she performed Mirror Ball at the show that we watched, which is from Folklore. My question to you is, I mean, first of all, I hope she puts Tim McGraw back on as a permanent just to have one song from debut, at least. But my question for you is, what song do you want her to sing at your show as the surprise song, knowing that she's not repeating anything? So you already, State of Grace is out because she replaced Tim McGraw with that. And Mirror Ball is out. And there's one more. This Is Me Trying is out, which is also from Folklore, I believe.
She played This Is Me Trying?
I think so. I think she did. That was the first song because she did 2. People were like,
Oh, you're
2
right.
surprises.
I'm so sorry. You're right.
No, you're good. I had to look this up. I didn't know this. I didn't watch it a second time. I looked it up before this.
Mm-hmm.
So what song? I know that's hard. There's 10 albums.
There is. Can I give like I'm gonna give multiple answers for everything. Can I give like
Sounds
maybe
good.
a top 3?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So I'm gonna say what I just had. Cornelia Street, which is from Lover.
Yes.
A lot of people are disappointed that wasn't on the set list.
Me too.
Maroon, which is from Midnight.
Yes.
Another one people were very disappointed wasn't on the album. I mean, was on the set list. And this one is probably honestly, of all the songs that she didn't include on like the set list, You're on Your Own, Kid, which is another song
Also
from Midnight
Midnight's.
that it has an incredible bridge to it, and it pretty much documents throughout the whole bridge all of her eras. So it's very surprising that this song was not included on the regular set list. But those would be my top 3. But there's so many more I would love to hear.
Well, Justin and I are not going to the show, so we can't answer this question. But my next question for you is, you're going to the MetLife show. Do you think you're getting Welcome to New York?
Oh my gosh.
Again.
Which is a song I just don't care for. She played that one as a surprise song on my Reputation tour show, which was also at MetLife. And I believe it wasn't even the surprise song itself. Oh, no, I'm so sorry. She did it as the surprise song on the Friday show, and I went to the Saturday, and it was a rain show, so I had Fearless.
Okay.
But the Friday show, she did Welcome to New York. I think she's probably gonna do it. Hopefully,
she's got to know, though.
Yeah, but
she's got to
I
know
feel like
that.
she has to.
Okay, well then do 2 surprise songs, but don't cut Tim McGraw.
Well, so that's kind of the theory right now, is that's because Tim McGraw was cut, and people think it's not quite a, debut album set list that Tim McGraw was and then was cut from. It's more so
Right.
that the debut album doesn't have an era, like, act, I guess.
But
But
she just
instead
needs to go back and fix that.
Yeah, but instead she's doing 2 surprise songs, one acoustic on the guitar and one acoustic on the piano. And she said at the tour on the Friday, the first show, she said that she's going to be singing each song that she sings is a surprise song. She's only going to sing once. In the past, she's always done a surprise song at all the shows, but she may have some repeats and of very fan favorite songs throughout the course of the tour. and then just not hit some of them.
Right.
And she said that if she sung it once on a tour show, she's not going to sing it again. So Mirror Ball, which was sung on the first night, is not going to be sung again for the rest of tour. So I think that she's going to keep the 2 surprise songs as is, because I think she wants to hit as many other songs as she can, which is sad for debut, but I also kind of get it, I guess. It's my least favorite album, but
Okay, so I don't get it, and I'm gonna stay mad about it. But I'm kidding.
I don't get it for the sake of, like, it's called the Eras Tour. How can you not have one of the eras? You're advertising all 10 eras. How are you just simply not having one? But I
Right.
get
And
it
it's
in
your
the sense
first
of
single
it's
ever.
yeah, no, absolutely. No, it makes a lot of sense. And I would appreciate if she did that. But again, considering that Speak Now got one song, I'm like, thank God she even included it, because I didn't even know
I
that
know.
not having a song from any era was an option. So,
I know. Same. Okay, well, so after those songs, she literally does. It's like an optical illusion because she dives into, like, she does like a, like, off, kind of like a diving board. It's not a diving board, but what it would look like when you dive into a pool, under the stage, into a hole on the stage. But because the stage is a screen, it looks like she's swimming under the stage. Like, there's a recording of her swimming. I want to know if the dress color changes, because she wore a green dress on the second night and a red dress on the first night. Same dress. It was like a mauve the first night, but whatever. I want to know if it changes on the recording, because that's not actually her swimming under the stage, but she swims the whole runway, and it stresses me
right.
out because it kind of looks like swimming under ice, and the runway spans the entire stadium.
Yeah. The visual did change based on the color of
It
her
did.
dress.
Okay,
Yes,
well,
because
that's
people are
impressive.
saying, "Oh my gosh, what if they mess up and they put the wrong color?" Like, but I also
Yeah.
truly, I've thought about this dive probably so much, and it's something that everyone's already starting to joke about, and people have said, give her a couple more shows, and she's gonna start laughing before she does the dive, because there's gonna be like a meme or like a fan thing that comes with
Right.
it. But I truly don't know how she's obviously not diving into water, so I
Right.
don't know how she's diving that perfectly and what she's hitting. Like, it
It's
can't
got to be a
just
foam
based on
pit.
the angle. What'd you
Yeah.
say?
It has to be a foam pit, but I would be scared for my life.
Foam pit. Yeah, but where is she?
That's my
I don't
guess.
know. I hope that she gives some kind of behind the scenes to show, because I feel like everyone is wondering how she's doing that.
Yeah.
That's probably going to be like a 15-minute segment in the Netflix special.
Yeah, right.
100%. 100%. Did you also notice, like, water or like sparkles like get thrown up as if, like, through the stage, as if she's literally diving? Something gets thrown at her
Um,
feet to make it look like there's a
oh.
splash.
Oh, yes. Well, I don't think it's supposed to be that, well, if I'm thinking of the same thing, I don't think it's supposed to be something thrown at her. I think it's supposed to be
Not
that
at her,
I
but like,
no, no, I know, like, not a physical thing, but you're talking
right.
about the visual, right?
Yeah.
I think that splash is supposed to just be, and maybe there's a bit of a delay on it, but I think that splash is just supposed to be like the splash that she would make if she were diving into a
That's,
thing of
yeah.
water.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
think that's what it's supposed to be too, but it's like an
Oh,
actual thing. It's not on the screen. From what I can see, it looks
It's
like
a
somebody's like
really?
practical
throwing
effect.
glitter. Yeah, I don't know. I could be wrong.
It's a
Um,
practical
Oh, no,
effect
you could be
versus
right.
a
I mean, again,
visual.
we saw potato quality, so
we did,
um
we did. But
I
yeah, but so she comes up at the main stage, performs 7 songs off of Midnights, excuse me, closes with Karma. Can you just, as like an ending, explain why that's like symbolic?
yes. I'm very happy she did this, and this was actually a prediction that a lot of people had, that she would end with Karma. So going back to, the 1989 and Reputation kind of eras, like 2014, 2015, 2016, all that stuff happened the second time with Kanye West and the phone call and Taylor getting canceled, that's called a snake. It's a whole long thing. So if you're not familiar, I would suggest, I'm sure there's so many articles about it.
Reading up on it.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. But basically, so Taylor, like clockwork, up until Reputation was put out, had been putting out albums every 2 years. Her first album came out in 2006, then it was 2008, 2010, 2012, 2014. So the next album should have been 2016. 2016 is when everything went crazy with that whole thing. And so Reputation didn't come out till 2017. So there's a very, very strong fan theory out there that Taylor has a lost album, the original TS6, as people call it, because Reputation was her sixth album. And it's been called Karma because in a music video for The Man, which is one of her songs off of Lover, which was the seventh album, amongst other things, there's a point in the music video where herself, Taylor, dressed as the man in the music video, is standing in front of this wall. People call it the Man Wall, and it has all of her first six albums written on it. And then there's a sign of like a scooter, like for Scooter Braun, with like a red cancel sign kind of through it, like no scooters allowed. And there's another sign that says like, if found, return to Taylor Swift, right? Has the names of all of her albums, and then at the top is the word Karma written in orange. And there's no other words that are non-Taylor Swift albums on the board, on the wall. And it's written in orange, which isn't a color of her eras so far, hence my nails. Yes, there's no orange.
Yes. I have a question.
So, yeah, go ahead.
Do you think Karma is Midnight's? Because when that was supposed to come out, she was like, it's the story of 13 sleepless nights. So, like, some of the songs could have been written, including Karma. I don't know.
So that was a theory as well, it was the lost album being put out. However, I think she said that it's all, because people thought, oh, it's the vault songs, is it previously unreleased songs? But she did come out and say that, like, no, this is like songs I've written recently that are for this album. Okay. So she kind of debunked that. But yeah, so basically Karma was this lost album. She's never acknowledged it. So then when Midnight's comes out and she has a song called Karma, she kind of like laughed as she announced like the name of the song on that whole like bingo ball thing that she did on TikTok for each of the songs, which was very clearly like I know what you know, I see it all, she said, right? Like she definitely saw it. And the song is pretty much just about like, you know, that like Karma's a god. Everyone's probably seen the memes, like Karma's a cat. Like it's a very like a silly song of sorts, but it has a lot of really strong lyrics and is just basically a great way to sum up this tour, because it's like, you know, I've gone through so many good and bad things in my life, but look at where Karma has like brought me, basically, is that she's at the top of her game. She has like a lyric in the bridge that says like, ask me why so many fade, but I'm still here. And she's like belting it out. It's really, really cool. It's one of my favorite songs on Midnight's. So it's a very, very, and it's very upbeat and it's very fun to sing and dance to and everything. So it's like the perfect song to end the tour.
And that I didn't understand that until you explained it to me the other night. Yeah, I was just like, this is such a random thing to end on.
Oh, it's very good.
I was like, she's coming back out for Long Live. The entire 3 hours, like after, or everything after Speak Now is like, she's coming back for Long Live. I just want to end the episode by asking, Justin, do you feel like you went to the show?
Yes. Yes, I do. And just quick anecdote. I think I've said this on the show. Maybe I haven't. But whenever Taylor Swift comes to town, she usually does Gillette Stadium, which is the next town over from me. My family always makes it a point. Not that we're like, we would love to go. And I think my mom and sister have gone before. But the traffic that her show causes in my town is insane, because it's like all the teenage drivers, like newly licensed people, just clog up our streets. So we always try to make it out of town. So Nick, if you can let me know when she's coming to town, I might plan a vacation. But no, this was really great. Kathleen, thank you so much and I just want to applaud your storytelling skills, because there was a lot of context that I needed as a non-Swiftie, and you did it in a very concise, it was really great. So thanks for coming on for this episode, and this was so great having you, so thank you.
Oh, thank you. I was honestly like, as excited as I was to do this, I was also very stressed because I do have the tendency to ramble, and obviously there's so much for me to say for her, that I was nervous that I would, you know, keep running into the time. So I really appreciate that. Thank you. And thank you so much for having me. I feel so honored to be your resident Swiftie.
Thank you for being here. And let me just say, we went 7 minutes over total. That's pretty good.
Oh, okay,
I know I said around 50 minutes. If you look at my notes, I said 60. We went an hour and 8 minutes. So impressive.
Okay,
impressive. Good. I think we did a really good job.
We will release the unedited version
somewhere. Yeah. Point of Dues version.
Point of Dues version.
With that, my name is Nick Gervasi.
And I'm Justin Dew.
You can reach us at our email pointofdewpodcast@gmail.com or by sending us a voice message on our website anchor.fm/pointofdew. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Point of Dew Podcast and Twitter at Point of Dew. One day we're going to start using that one. If you enjoy our show, give us a rating or review wherever you get your podcasts or share us with a friend or family member. We'd really appreciate it and are truly grateful for your support. As always, we hope you have a great week. Thank you for listening, and until next time, H.